the most common things you hear from a rally driver at the end of stage is setup. The car setup's not right. But what exactly is car setup, and what can the drivers and co-drivers do whilst out on the road? We went to visit M Sport to find out what is available to the crews out on the road and back in the service.
Come out the stage, I'll have a certain feeling. I'll talk to my engineer Jamie, who's the clever one. I just feel things and then tell him what I'm feeling. So I'm emotional, he's clever. Crews can only use what is in the car to make any adjustments or in between the stages. The three main setup adjustments that they can make will be to the ride height, the damper settings, and to the roll bar positions. You can see here the ride height position. This is our platform height where we are now. The crews can easily adjust this between stages by using some C-spanners, which we have here, and they'll be able to move this up and down. Damper settings can be adjusted using a damper tool, which they carry in the car as well. And then finally, the roll bar positions is a bit more time-consuming to change, but the crews practice this quite often. And you can see there's an anti-roll bar drop link just behind the damper, and then it's got three positions on the Fiesta. So at the minute, we've got it set in the middle position, but if the crews want to change how the balance is in the car, they can change it to the inner position or the outer position. Different damper manufacturers have different levels of adjustment. The main two are compression and rebound. The compression setting affects whenever the damper's being compressed, and the rebound affects whenever the damper's returning to its natural position. You can opening these clicks makes the car move, or the damper move, a little bit more easily, and tends to affect the grip and improve the grip. But it's a trade-off with the reactivity and the stability of the damper as well. So you can open it a lot, but then suddenly the car isn't as reactive and you lose some of that protection and precision. The main thing to talk about for the roll bars is, first of all, there is a roll bar itself as well as the positions. So the crews don't carry roll bars with them, so the roll bar has to stay the same throughout a loop of stages, but whenever they come back to service, we can change the physical roll bar. But the actual position can be changed on the wishbone arm. So in the Fiesta, we have 3 positions in the front and 3 positions on the rear. At the minute, this car is in the middle position. To make the car stiffer, the crews can move it one way, and to make it softer, they can move it another way. If you go to a softer position, again, it allows a little bit more movement of the car during cornering, but you might lose a little bit of stability and precision. It opens up a lot more options whenever we have the car back in service. There's many things we can change in the car. The main ones from going to a first to a second pass, especially on gravel, would be adjusting your ride height. Okay, they can do that in the stages as well, but we like to reset it to our base, let's say. And then, yeah, they can also change the spring rate. So if they're going to stages that are much more rougher and more rocks are being pulled out, we tend to give the car a little bit more support. So we would go stiffer on the springs to facilitate that. They can also make changes to the differentials, both front and rear. We can have different setups within them, so that would be different ramp angles for front and rear, for accel and decel. And the preload can be adjusted on the diff that is in the car as well. A more open diff allows the car to rotate easier, but you might lose out in traction. So a fully locked diff gives you great traction, but makes it very difficult to rotate. So it's always a trade-off between those two things, really, when you're talking about your diff setups. And that's the same for preload. If you have really high preload in the diff, it's very locked whenever there's quite little load on it. So it makes it quite difficult to turn the car. And then if you're too open, you might lose out on traction as a result. I think at this level, we're all driving the fastest car we possibly can. We just have very slightly different kind of driver preferences. Usually the engineers know what the fastest car is, and we're told to drive it and just only allowed to make small changes to make ourselves a bit happier.
WRC Plus, all live.